I didn't expect her words to land like that. She laughed lightly, the kind of laugh that should have been harmless, fleeting. "Marriage with him is terrible," she said, voice teasing, eyes sparkling with mischief. My stomach sank slightly, not because I didn't see the humor, but because it carried an edge I hadn't noticed before. Then her younger sister spoke up, leaning a little closer, the grin teasingly sharp. "You can try him," she added, like a dagger hidden in a playful tone. The air shifted immediately, heavy, dense, charged. I could feel it, the way the table suddenly became smaller, the room narrower, the laughter hollow. I stayed quiet, pretending to sip my drink, pretending not to notice, but my mind was racing. Every word, every glance, every subtle inflection was a message, and I was suddenly a receiver for something I hadn't expected to decode. Her words were a joke? Yes, but layered beneath it was something sharper, something carefully hidden, waiting for me to recognize it. I looked at her, my wife, watching the way her smile wavered just slightly at the edges. Not a full crack, but enough to betray the nervous energy behind it. And then I realized the danger wasn't in the joke itself. It was in the implication, the casual dismissal of what we had, the way her sister had casually thrown herself into the mix as if she had permission to comment on my life, my marriage, my loyalty. I shifted in my seat, letting the silence stretch just long enough for her to feel it. The room buzzed with ordinary chatter, but I was focused, aware of the subtle signals, the hidden threads. Her younger sister leaned back, satisfied with the reaction she had stirred, thinking perhaps it was all in jest. But I wasn't reacting the way they expected. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't defensive. I was noticing. And noticing changes everything. I let the words hang, letting her see that I understood more than she intended me to. That small smile she had tried to hide? It faltered. The confident teasing glint in her sister's eyes? It dimmed just slightly. I took a slow breath. Calm, steady. "Is that what you really think?" I asked softly, letting the weight of my voice land in the quiet between us. The tone wasn't accusing. It wasn't angry. But it carried something far heavier. A quiet certainty that she hadn't expected to face tonight. Her eyes flicked up at me, a fleeting hint of hesitation, as if she was trying to gauge how much I had actually noticed. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, caught somewhere between a laugh and an explanation she couldn't bring herself to give. Her younger sister, sensing the shift in the room, tilted her head, curiosity and mischief warring across her expression. I kept my voice steady, controlled. "You know," I said slowly, letting the words roll between us like a slow wave. "Words have a way of revealing more than actions sometimes. And I've been listening." Her hand twitched slightly against the edge of the table. That tiny movement said more than any sentence she could have spoken. I leaned back, letting my calm contrast sharply with the tension I could see building in her chest, in her sister's slight smirk. I wanted her to feel that subtle pressure, the awareness that her joke, her teasing, had landed exactly where it shouldn't have. She laughed nervously, a short, clipped sound, but the unease was there, just beneath the surface. "It was just a joke," she said quickly, but the words lacked conviction. I raised an eyebrow, letting the silence stretch, heavy, deliberate. I didn't need her to explain. I didn't need her to justify. I just needed her to acknowledge that I had seen, that I had understood. Her younger sister's grin faltered, a shadow passing over her face for the briefest of seconds. She had thought this playful jab would be harmless, a small spark in the conversation. But the room now carried a weight she hadn't counted on. The joke wasn't funny anymore. It had become a mirror, reflecting truth she hadn't intended me to notice. I shifted slightly, voice calm, measured. "Funny, isn't it?" I asked softly. How something meant to be playful can reveal exactly what people are trying to hide. I let the words hang, letting her see the quiet observation that had replaced surprise, that had replaced laughter. Her gaze dropped again, eyes tracing the rim of her cup, a subtle acknowledgement that the pretense had been seen through. The room felt smaller, the air thicker, every movement more charged, more deliberate. The dynamic had changed. The small joke had exposed the fissures, the hidden intentions, and now there was no undoing the awareness that had taken root. And in that charged quiet I realized something important. This wasn't about anger. It wasn't about confrontation. It was about clarity, about seeing what was there, what had always been there, and allowing the weight of that truth to settle. Her shoulders slumped slightly, a subtle surrender, not of defeat but of recognition. She finally met my gaze, eyes wary, searching, as if asking silently whether I truly understood what had been hidden behind their teasing. I didn't rush her. I didn't need to. The room had changed, charged with quiet tension. "You can pretend it's just a joke," I said calmly. "Or you can acknowledge that words, even playful ones, carry weight. That small things reveal what people think and feel when they believe no one is watching closely." She hesitated, lips parting then closing again. Her younger sister shifted uncomfortably, realizing that the playful power she thought she held had vanished, leaving only the truth exposed. The room was no longer filled with light-hearted teasing. It was heavy, deliberate, and unavoidable. "I've noticed," I continued softly, leaning slightly forward. "Everything hidden in the small gestures, the casual remarks, the jokes meant to distract. I've seen it all. And now it's up to you how we move forward." Her eyes flickered down to her hands, entwined in a tight grip, betraying the subtle guilt she tried to mask. She had attempted to disguise her words as harmless humor, but the quiet observation had stripped that away. She knew I saw more than just a joke. I saw the intent, the hesitation, the hidden truths that mattered far more than laughter. I straightened, voice calm, steady, measured. "You have a choice," I said, letting the words land. "A choice to continue with honesty, or continue with pretense. I'm done pretending that small actions don't matter, that words without weight are harmless. The time for clarity is now." Her younger sister nodded slightly, a silent concession, understanding that the playful interference had lost its impact. The power dynamics had shifted. It was no longer about jokes or teasing. It was about truth, awareness, and accountability. Finally, my wife looked up, eyes meeting mine fully, a slow realization dawning. No more hiding, no more deflection. The playful teasing had been seen, understood, and now the path forward was clear. Actions and words would be measured from here on, every gesture considered, every intention revealed. And in that quiet, charged moment, I felt a sense of resolve. The hidden truths had surfaced, and the air was cleared. The laughter had faded, leaving space for honesty, for clarity, for the realignment of expectations. The joke was no longer just a joke. It had become a revelation, and that revelation changed everything.